The UK is all ready to apply its military personnel to Ukraine to ensure the implementation of the peace agreement, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has said. This is the first time that the head of the UK government has publicly admitted that he is considering sending British peacekeepers to Ukraine, the Telegraph has noted.
But any role in helping to guarantee Ukraine's security is helping to guarantee the security of our continent and the security of this country. The end of this war, when it comes, cannot merely become a temporary pause before Putin attacks again. Keir Starmer, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, in an interview with The Telegraph.
This decision means readiness and willingness to provide security guarantees for Ukraine, Starmer emphasized. Peace comes through strength, but the opposite is also true. Weakness leads to war, he said.
This is the moment for us all to step up, and the UK will do so because it is the right thing to do for the values and freedoms we hold dear, and because it is fundamental to our own national security. Keir Starmer, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, in an interview with The Telegraph.
A peacekeeping contingent from China and Brazil should be deployed along the ceasefire line in Ukraine, the White House has said, The Economist has reported. At the same time, the United States does not rule out the participation of the European military in the peacekeeping mission. Vice President of the United States J.D. Vance noted at the Munich Security Conference that the force consisting only of Europeans would be less effective in controlling potential aggression on the part of Russia. Analysts call Washington's proposal not ideal but promising.
If we are talking about Brazil, it is an option. It is a BRICS country, a country that is one of the leaders of the global south, a country that is quite loyal to Russia, but not 100% and not directly involved in the war. As an option, Brazil is more realistic and interesting. I don't know how interesting it is for Brazil, but from a practical point of view, it's a more real participation than China.
Sweden does not rule out the possibility of sending its peacekeepers to Ukraine. Minister for Foreign Affairs of Sweden, Maria Stenberg, has said, provided that a sustainable peace is achieved. The Swedish military can help maintain this peace, Prime Minister of Sweden, Ulf Kristersson, has said.
Well, we will take part of those discussions, and of course that is absolutely a possibility. There needs to be a very clear mandate for those forces, and I don't think we can see that until we have come further in those negotiations. But Sweden, we are normally a part of strengthening security in our part of the world, so I foresee us to be a part of that this time as well.
Ukraine will hold a consultation with European partners on the issue of the peacekeeping contingent, Volodymyr Zelenskyy has assured. European leaders are ready to assume this responsibility within the framework of providing security guarantees to Kyiv, the president of Ukraine has said. This should be representatives of different countries. At least 100,000 military personnel will be needed to effectively fulfill these tasks.
European leaders have gone to think. I think we will have some consultations, realizing that there is a big question of money here, of possibilities, because it is a lot of money. And if Ukraine sees that the contingent is really one of the components of security guarantees, they will be ready to send their troops to us.
Volodymyr Zelenskyy stressed that this is extremely important for Ukraine, that not only European but also U.S. military personnel take part in the peacekeeping mission, although the White House is not ready to discuss this now. According to Financial Times sources, Washington wants to provide external support to the troops of NATO member states that will take part in the peacekeeping mission. By the way, it does not necessarily include only infantry, the Ukrainian president said. The peacekeeping mission will require the presence of various types of troops, including the Navy. Reported by Alexandra Zaslavets, Nikita Skoblikov, UATV News. Only real security guarantees for Ukraine can assure the safety of Europe, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy stated at the World Economic Forum. According to him, one of the components of such guarantees, after a possible ceasefire, could be the deployment of an international peacekeeping force in Ukraine. However, for the mission to be effective, it must include at least 200,000 troops.
I support the idea of peacekeeping forces as part of security guarantees, since Russia has a 1.5 million strong army, and ours will be half the size. It means we need peacekeeping forces with a significant number of soldiers, at least 200,000.
In the peacekeeping mission that could be deployed in Ukraine, military personnel from the United States must also be involved, the president of Ukraine emphasized in an interview with Bloomberg. European partners of Kyiv lack enough servicemen to form an effective deterrent force. For example, 200,000 troops is just shy of the size of the French army, one of the largest in Europe. In December 2024, the president of Ukraine said that the idea of sending peacekeepers to Ukraine is being discussed in Brussels and that there have already been positive signals from some country leaders.
Peacekeepers could be present, foreign troops on Ukrainian soil, as part of security guarantees. These guarantees must be more comprehensive. Ukraine, as before, does not reject NATO membership. We are waiting for an invitation in any case. Ukraine, also as part of the Victory Plan, talks about the need to deploy non-nuclear deterrent forces on its territory. These are specific weapons capable of striking decision-making centers, as the Russians like to say.
To survive, Europe must arm itself, said Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk during a session at the European Parliament. European Union Foreign Affairs Chief Josep Borrell agrees. He is convinced that Ukraine can win the war Russia started, but for that, Europe must increase its assistance to Kyiv and its own military potential. There are opportunities to do so because the European Union's economy is 17 times larger than Russia's.
Europe's failure to invest in military capabilities also sends a dangerous signal to the aggressor. Weakness invites them in. President Trump is right to say that we don't spend enough. It's time to invest. We all need to be realistic about Russia. Russia poses existential threat to our security today, tomorrow, and for as long as we underinvest in our defense. Time is not on Russia's side, but it's not necessarily on our side either, because we are not yet doing enough. Second, there should be no doubt in any of our minds that we need to spend more to prevent war. But we also need to prepare for war.
The European Union has already provided Ukraine with 134 billion euros in aid, with 50 billion euros allocated for arms. In addition, European partners have helped train 75,000 Ukrainian servicemen. Brussels is now working on the 16th sanction package against Russia. According to the EU Foreign Affairs Chief, the EU wants to expand the use of frozen Russian assets to help Ukraine. Reported by Alexandra Zaslavets, Victoria Smirnova, UATV News.